Very good evening, team. Welcome to Dwaytech's Power BI Masterclass 7. In this class, we will be discussing about filters and drill-through functionalities in Power BI. A small recap of what we have discussed in the previous class. We had discussed about cards, various type of cards that Power BI has, including number cards, alphabetical cards, and even the date card. So how these and multi-data cards. So how these cards can be incorporated in your dashboards and what kind of functionalities that these cards display and what are the benefits of using these cards in place of other text or visualization functionalities that are available in Power BI. We had discussed through these points, and we also implemented different types of cards by connecting them with other numerical charts, tabular charts, and graphical charts. So based on all the charts that we have mastered till date, how we can place these charts in different pages and how each page can contain different charts and how we can apply filters on the data that we are visualizing in those particular charts and how we can connect those charts and filter data according to our requirement or according to the criteria that we have to meet. So we will be looking at the filters option in Power BI and how these filters can be implemented on the different charts that we are going to present in our visualization table or the visualization dashboard. And once we have these filtered charts, we have a very special option or a very special functionality that Power BI offers to us that is called as drill through. So when we have to apply the same filter on different charts which are built on different criteria or different legends or different constraints or columns. So how we can apply a common criteria to compare all these different tables or charts in Power BI, we are going to see in drill through. It might be a bit complicated when we textually try to read it or understand it, but instead of articulating it in easier definition, if we can look into the practical aspect of it, we can easily understand what drill through stands for and how we can implement it and how it can help us make our function of building a numerically varying Power BI dashboard easy. Like every Power BI dashboard that we build is not static. Most of the Power BI dashboards, are the main reason we rely on Power BI dashboards is because when we are visualizing data, it might not be static data. The data keeps changing from day to day. Data keeps changing from time to time. The data that we have is highly dynamic in nature and highly variant in nature. So when we are dealing with these kind of data sets, to visualize them, we use business intelligence tools such as Power BI. So when the data is constantly updating, for us to observe those changes, we can use these extraordinary filters functionalities called as filters and drill through. How we are going to implement it and how it's going to come in handy, we'll just look into it. There is no much text explanation. We can directly jump into Power BI. So as part of today's class, I have created 3 pages here on Power BI, and each of those pages has 2 different charts. On the first, if you can clearly observe my screen, there are 2 charts on my first screen. The first chart is a pie chart, which is comparing sum of sales against shipment methods, right? There are different shipment methods. There's a standard class, and this is the same day shipment method, and there is the first class shipment method and the second class shipment method. The sum of sales against each of these shipment methods, I have displayed it in the first pie chart. In the second, I have a funnel chart. In the funnel chart, I'm comparing sales against subcategory, right? If you can see the funnel chart, it is designed in upside down pyramid shape where any category on the left has the highest value in comparison to the category that we are comparing on the right. All the columns of the subcategories are defined on the left, and you can see the value of sales which are happened against that particular subcategory in this particular chart, right? So I have these 2 charts. So whenever I have a page with 2 kinds of charts like this, or let's say 1 chart, 3 charts, how many ever charts may be on the particular page, if you directly shift your view towards the filters pane, which is right next to the visualization pane, you can see that it is offering me 2 options here. One says filters on the page and one says filters on all pages. Now, in filters, there are 3 ways that in which you can implement filters into Power BI, right? The first option here, which is on display, is filters on this page and filters on all pages. There is a third option also, which is filter on visual, right? So how do we access filter on visual? Each chart or each table which you have defined on your screen is considered to be a visual, right? If I click on the Power BI pie chart, I'm selecting the entire chart. If you look at the visualization pane now, you'll see there is an option called as filters on this visual, right? So this is filters on this visual. Now on here, I'm going to bring it is displaying to me the sum of sales, right? Sum of sales against shipment method. So I'm going to use the criteria of category, right? I'm going to bring category and I'm going to leave it here. And I'm going to select furniture in category. Can you see the variance, right? So I'm going to select office supply. I'm going to unselect furniture. Can you see the changes? Now I'm going to select technology, unselect office supplies. You can see the variation that is happening in the pie chart, right? So this is how you apply filter to one particular visual. I'm going to go back to the report and I'll unselect the filter and I'll select the funnel chart now. So once I click on the funnel chart, it is displaying filters on this visual, right? Here also, unlike subcategory, maybe I'll just scroll down. Just a second, team. I'm going to scroll down to segment and I'm going to drag segment onto filters on this visual option and I'm going to select home office. Can you see the chart changing? I'm going to expand the view for you, right? And I'm going to unselect home office and I'm going to select consumer. You can see the variation in the chart, right? In terms of numbers also. The sales is in thousands only. Only when I select two segments, it is displaying that the sales value has crossed a million in all of these particular categories, right? So I'm going to unselect all the filters and close this. So this was a demonstration of how filters on visual work. Now next, I'm going to drop the zoom view. I'm going to go to the second page here. So here I have the same pie chart, sum of sales against shipment mode, and I have two tables here, right? In the first table, I'm comparing category wise the sales, right? Each category, how much sales is there and what is the total sum of sales of all the categories combined together. That I'm comparing one table. In my second table, I have year-wise sum of sales, starting from the year 2012 up until 2016. How much sales has the global superstore made, right? All these three categories here. Now I want to check all of them against particular segment, right? So when I'm going to click on anywhere on the screen, I'm not going to select any one particular visual. Then you have the filter on the visual appearing here. If you don't want it to be distracting or visual, visible on your filters pane, click anywhere else on the screen, and you can automatically see that the filters on the visual option has disappeared. It is not visible anymore. So when I click on the screen, the filters on the page and filters on all pages is visible now. So I'm going to go back, come to my data pane. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to select segment column and I'm going to drag it and leave it on filters on the page. So out of all three segments, I'm going to select any random segment. So can you see the total sales in particular corporate segment is 3,824,000 and change. If I select this, unselect corporate and I'm going to select home office, you can see the sales has dropped to 2 million. Now I'm going to unselect home office and I'm going to select consumer. So consumer has a total of 6 million sales, right? So in this way, all the charts here are showing me a variation of data because of the filter that I'm selecting, right? It's not just one particular visual. If you say I'm going to unselect consumer and I'm going to select corporate, you see the changes occurred in all three visualizations that are present on my screen. There is a change in the pie chart, there is a change in the table, and there's a change in the second table also. In case I had the funnel chart which I displayed on the first screen, if I had a funnel chart on this screen, the changes would have occurred in that particular funnel chart also. So this is how filter on page works. Like all the visualization, irrespective of the type, be it a graphical visualization like a pie chart, be it a map-based visualization like a globe or a map chart, or it's let's say a bar chart or a stacked graph chart. So, or a tabular column like this, or a card that we displayed other day. So any of these visualizations, whichever visualization is present on your screen, has to change or has to display a variation when I apply a filter on the filters on the page option, right? So I'm not going to unselect the filter or cancel it. I'm going to leave it as it is. So let's move to the third screen of filtering. So here you see that I'm going to exhibit or demonstrate the filter on all pages here. So for that, I'll have to go back to screen one, and maybe I'll just unselect this particular filter. I'm going to screen one. Yeah. So on each of these visualizations, earlier I had, yeah, I have given a filter here. So I'm going to remove all filters that I have implied on the previous sheets and their visualizations. I'm going to go to the third sheet. Right. In the third page, I have two visualizations or two charts present. One is a stacked bar chart on the left, a stacked column chart, and on the right I have a very simple table which is comparing sales against category. In the bar chart, I will expand the view for you. Here I'm comparing sum of sales against market, right? So the Asia market is basically comparing it against geographical regions according to continent, right? The Asia and the Pacific is considered Asia Pacific market, Europe, United States of America, and the Latin America and Africa, right? This is how we are comparing in this particular stacked column chart. So I'm going to minimize the chart. Now anywhere on the screen, I'm going to click on the right side filters pane. I will see the filters on the page option, which we just demonstrated in the previous sheet. On the first page, we even demonstrated the filter on visual. Now I'm going to demonstrate filter on all pages. I'm going to scroll down the data pane. Maybe I will select segment here, and I'm going to drag and drop segment on filter on all pages, and I'm going to select home office here. You see there is, before selecting, I want you to observe the number right here. The number is 12 million. I'm going to go to page 2. Here also the sum of sales against category is 12 million. Here the sum of sales against all years combined together is 12 million. And I'm going to, yeah, the pie here, right? The sum of all sales here is also 12 million. I'm going to leave it here at 100%. The number is 12 million. Again, in this pie chart, the entire sales against combined against all shipment modes is also 12 million. Let's see how this is going to vary once I apply the filters on all pages option. Right, I'm going to select corporate here. You see the number dropped from 12 million to 3 million change. Again, I'm going to see the, the way the stacked columns are present. They also have changed their shapes, right? I'm going to unselect them. See, the sales against all categories combined was higher in Asia Pacific and in Latin America. Now, when I select consumer, you can see the sales has increased in few categories, right? In the same way, it was 12 million, it dropped to 6 million. Sheet number 2, you see it is dropped to 6 million, dropped to 6 million. Unselecting this, the original pie chart looks like this. After applying the filter, there is a small variation in standard class shift mode. It has increased by a certain percentage, right? I'm going to unselect this. You see that it is 59.95%. Once I go to consumer only, you can see that the percentage here, if you observe at the middle of the screen, the pop-up that comes when I leave my cursor on this particular part of the pie chart, you see that the percentage has increased from 59% to 60.27%. In the same way, I'm going to come to the first sheet here. I'm going to unselect my filter. You can see that the funnel chart looks a bit different. Once I select these particular filters, you can see that as soon as I'm applying filters, the chart or the funnel chart is showing me a variance in the sizes of the charts or the columns that it is being displayed. So I'm going to the second page, I'm going to the third page. You can see that in all pages, changes have occurred. So this is a way, this is the method of applying a particular filter on all the pages. Let's say you're dealing with a very static or very dynamic data set, which is related to one particular category only, like how, let's say we are comparing stocks, right? Let's say we are comparing different stock options of a particular company, and the performance of each stock option, we can use particular visualizations or graphs in different pages. So each page will represent different stock options that a company is offering. And let's say the filter is expansion, a business decision that it takes. All the filters we have, let's say the brand, the company boosts up investments, in a particular year. Let's say the company is diverting funds to a particular new product launch. Let's say a company is expanding to a newer geographical market. These might be the filters. Based, when you apply those filters, you can see, the performance variation in each of these stock options. How the stock options vary from time to time when a company takes a particular decision. Let's say there are particular countries on the globe, on the Middle East, which are war at each other. And let's say there is an American US company which has operations. It's a beverage company which has operations all over the globe in all of these countries, right? Let's say that particular company, decides to aid a particular event, decides to sponsor a particular event, or anything, to invest into any venture, be it an event, be it a new company, be it a new business model, anything in one particular country. All of the consumers of this particular stock options or this particular company in the country which is fighting the war against that country, they might not favor the company as much as before, and they might reduce the consumption. They might even ban the product from being consumed in their particular geographical region, which in turn will affect the overall revenue of the company, right? So any particular business decision that the company takes, for them to take, before taking that decision, if they have to have a assumption, make a calculation and see that how the stock options will perform after the company takes that particular decision, right? These kind of very complex business decisions, you can derive them by visualizing them. These kind of numbers, try to make a proper mathematical calculation, it will be very difficult. There are no algorithms or there are no theorems or theses that can support or for or against this decision. These are risky decisions that you can make by observing a pattern or by observing multiple key performance indicators, right? These are decisions that are never sure. We can only look at these particular assumptions, these particular calculations or analysis or analytics that we observe by visualizing them, and we can favor to a particular possibility of the decision. That's all. We can never make a firm decision. So for us to get at least that amount of clarity on what consequences might occur, can be achieved through visualization. Of course, these are very complex filters that I'm talking about, but I'm demonstrating very basic filters here. But this example that I gave you right now is just for your understanding that why filtering data and why applying filters against different visualization is so important, right? Right now in corporates or job levels or people handling basic data like this kind of sales data, these kind of basic filters are good enough. But higher level analysts, right, army analysts, all these intellectuals that work with governments and United Nations or these kind of international peacekeeping bodies, they are also analysts, right? Analysts is not just to analyze a particular business performance. No, these kind of decisions that hold global peace together, analysts help all these kind of organizations to make that kind of a decision, right? Analytics, is such a vast subject that it can be incorporated into any industry, any sector of the world, to make risky or very highly important decisions. So filtering, starting from this kind of simple sales analysis to making global decisions, right? It can really affect thought process of a company and an organization, right? This is just an example for you to understand the range of this particular functionality that Power BI offers, or analytics itself offers as a subject. So we happen to look through filters, and now we are going to see a very different option called as drill through. So these the functionalities that I am going to demonstrate to you today are mainly based on visuals. So there were a lot of visuals that had to be created. Just to not drag the class for a very higher duration, I have already come up with the visualizations that I'm going to be using today. Of course, I have clearly zoomed and showed you that what are the parameters that I have used to create those visualizations. In this first page of drill through, I have a stacked column chart where I'm comparing sum of sales versus category. Whereas in the second visualization here, I'm comparing sum of sales by segment, right? I'm going to remove the filters here, right? Yeah. So this is my first page. Can you see that I have mentioned two visualizations? I'm going to go to the second sheet where I have two tables. First one, I have sum of sales against subcategory, and the other table I have is sum of sales being compared against year. So I'm comparing the sales that took place from 2012 to 2015, right? And next I have in the third sheet, customer name, sum of sales against customer name, and sum of sales against city. These are very huge tables, but what functionality I'm going to demonstrate, it won't really matter with the size of the data set. I'm just going to demonstrate a small variation that is going to occur based on the main sheet. So here we have a master sheet called drill 1. Here I have two visual panels, right? On the first visualization stack column, I have three categories, that is technology, furniture, and office supplies. Here I'm comparing segment-wise sales, that is I have three segments only: consumer, home office and corporates, right? On the second sheet, I have sum of sales versus subcategory and sum of sales versus year. So here on this particular sheet, there is some empty space leaving the other two tables. I'm going to select here and I'm going to right click. And I'm going to double click here, right? Let us close this. Yeah. So if you directly shift to visualization pane and scroll down, you'll see add drill through field here, right? So I'm going to add a drill through field here and I'm going to select segment, right? I'm going to drag and drop segment into filter. Then here again, I'm going to go to, so can you see that a segment, sorry, category, segment is here on the second visualization, that is the pie chart. You see, we are comparing sales against segment. So in the second sheet, I am adding segment as my drill through option. What drill through is, once I start demonstrating, the option will understand. More than a textual definition, the actual functional demonstration will give you better clarity. Now I'm going to the first sheet again. In the first visualization, that is a stacked column chart, right? I have sales being compared by category. So I'm going to come to my third sheet, and here I have a customer name versus sales, city versus sales, and I'm going to click on the screen. And in the visualization pane, at the drill through fields here, I'm going to drag and drop category, right? Right. So straight, let us skip back to drill one. That is my first sheet. I'm going to click on the first diagram here. I'm going to select technology, right? After selecting technology, I'm going to right click, and in the drop down, you'll see an option called drill through. From drill through, the next drop down it will give us this sheet, the name of the sheet. As soon as I click, you are directly directed to that sheet where the data which was being displayed, it is now filtered against that one particular category called technology, right? So I'm going to go back to drill one, unselect technology. I'm going to select furniture, right click on it, and I'm going to press drill through. You see, there is a change in the numbers, right? There were different numbers previously, and now the numbers have changed. Now going back to drill one, let us go to the pie chart. Out of all the three segments here, I'm going to select one segment, and I'm going to right click and ask to drill through. Can you see the numbers? Observe the numbers is 3 million is the total value that is being displayed here. I'm going to go back to one. I selected the other segment now. Now I'm going to select consumer segment. I'm going to right click, drill through. You see the number has changed to 6 million. It was 3 million earlier. Now it is 6 million. So drill through is applying individual filters, dynamic filters. Like in filters, you apply one filter and it is being applied to all the visuals, or you have to apply to it one visual or a time, or apply it to all visuals at the same time, right? You're not able to change it dynamically. Whereas here, I can switch between filters, right? Technology is one filter, furniture is other filter, and office supplies is another filter, right? I don't have to keep changing it. I don't have to switch to my visualization pane on my filter pane and keep changing the filter so that I can go to different sheets. I don't even have to switch to sheets or select or unselect filters. So whichever segment or whichever particular aspect I need the data of, I'm going to right click on it, press drill through and give it. And it's directly going to direct me to that sheet where the data I desire to look at, or the data that I desire to analyze, is being displayed according to my convenience and by applying my filter. So this is how drill through works, and this is how filter works. Filter is a bit of a static option, whereas drill through is almost like a filter, but it is more dynamic than a filter. So this is filter and drill through. So I guess I have displayed, I have been slow in narration about all the diagrams that I used today. And so do recreate all these diagrams, do create 3 different filter sheets and drill through sheets, and practically try to practice the functionalities of filters and drill through. You'll be able to get a better grasp on them. You might not understand where it is useful for you right now, but when we reach the stage of building dashboards, and when we start incorporating these drill through and filter options, you'll understand the importance of both these functionalities, and you'll understand where you can incorporate them even in the future when you're building dashboards on your own, right? So that is all for today, filters and drill through. Do watch this video in repeat just in case you want a better grip on this. Give multiple views until you get a hold on this particular functionalities. Thank you so much, team.